Here's another various nurse job video. This is more on psych nursing, which is probably, I think, the second, on average, second or third highest paid. It really, I mean, you can pick whatever survey and it'll be, you'll get some variations on whatever, but the number ones are always the CRNAs, because they're advanced practice nurses, and they're just basically anesthesiologists, no offense, that are working for cheap because they go through a very rigorous, crazy ass regimen. I mean, there's actually RNMD. Oh, what the heck is his name? He's on YouTube. I've subbed to him on my other personal account, and he used to be an RN in the military, and he actually went to CRNA school. I think he didn't make the cut, in the sense of there was some clashes going on, and the same thing. I actually had a professor, same story, CRNA school, didn't end up being an advanced practice nurse or something else, but they just, they didn't get through it for one reason or the other. I don't believe it was academic, to tell you the truth. But the nurse that I'm talking about, he actually went to med school instead. He's a practicing physician now. So, and he said, actually, I think he said in a couple of his videos that CRNA school was actually harder than med school. Now, your mileage may vary. I mean, that's depending on which schools he went to, which CRNA school he had attended, and which med school he attended. I believe med school wise he was in, I want to say University of Arizona, UVA. I think it was it. It might have been Arizona State. I'm not sure which one. Go find him. He's a great guy. He talks very, straightforward. No bullshit. He has a lot of experience. He was a nurse for probably, I would say 15 years at least before he became a doctor, and military triage. So he saw a lot of shit. So he's going to tell you it like it is. And now he's a doctor. He has another perspective, and I believe he actually worked through med school. I mean, part of it was GI Bill, but that's a great way of getting your education, especially med. I have a naval surgeon friend. Now he's in private practice. Friend of a friend, really. So, not my direct friend, but a friend of the family, let's say. And it's a great way of paying your tuition. So this guy, the RN MD. I'm sorry. I might. Let me see if I can find it, and I'll post his link in the comments below, so that you guys can look him up and get his input and his insight. But going back to the original title of the psych nurse, it shows the varying degrees of nursing. A friend of mine's dad is a MP psych nurse. Actually, I think he's a psych nurse. His wife is the MP, now that I think about it. And we were talking, this is during nursing school, we're like, we're learning the shots, deltoid and ventricular, which is out of flavor now, and then the thigh shot, which I can't think of. I'm sorry. So, our professor was saying, I've never given a ventricular. And this is a professor saying, I've given the thigh shot now and then, but it's like 99% of the time it's on the deltoid. And to be honest, yeah, I would say from my experience so far that is true for me. But for my friend, she was saying her father, being a psych nurse, she asked him the same question, and he says, I've never given it but a thigh shot. Reason being that he's dealing with agitated patients all the time. So you got techs and orderlies and security holding people down, and them going, here's your Zyprexa, or whatever, trying to calm the person down. but they're just not exposed to it. Other nurses aren't exposed to that, where he sees that every day. Just recently, I had to give IM Zyprexa on the deltoid to an agitated patient, and I work on a neuro floor, which is not quite the same as the psych floor. It's much more med surg for us. So I had not necessarily strain, but a roll belt on the patient, whatever, doing. But the ICU, it was on the COVID unit, and ICU nurses were like, I've never given an iron shot. And I'm looking like, what? But they don't deal with it. Their patients are all sedated. They're gone. They're out of it. It's like my friend in PACU. She's like, I don't have any conversations with my patients. Very rarely. She was joking. Now and then you have, when they're coming out of anesthesia. But by and large, it's 1-to-1s, maybe 2-to-1s, and patients are, very calm, 99% of the time, because they're out of it. So I see is like, push it through the vein, IV, whatever, So I was like, oh, no, I want, for me, it's no big deal. That is what it is. But don't get me wrong, I asked the ICU nurse to put in an IV for me because I couldn't get it. I just couldn't get it. And so then they were able to get it. So every nurse has their strengths, specialties, or preferences, or stuff they see day in, day out, and other nurses never see it. So that's why with psych nurses, an interesting aspect, at least in the facilities that I've seen, they actually don't give out meds. And so if that's one thing that bothers you or whatever, they dole it out at a counter, because you want the psych patients. And I'm not talking about the, not the full dependence. I'm talking. I would say the majority of psych patients are walkie-talkies. They can walk around. They just need their medication to get them back into the norm or deal with whatever. So you give it to them. They come to the counter, to the pharmacy dispensary, and they give them out and look up, and they watch you swallow it and go. So it's not like you're doing med pass. That's your med pass. There's a different population on a psych floor versus like a neuro floor on my floor, my unit, or a ortho floor or a cardiac floor or whatever. And psych nurses, though, because I'm on a neuro, I'm like, wait a minute, what? And you're paid more than me? So I'm like, what? They don't have to really deal with code browns and stuff like that. I mean, it happens, but they had techs too that help, So is it all that? I mean, so that's another, but I mean, there is a greater element of incidents, violence, antagonism. I still do it. I still get it too, but psych might be something you might want to look at that is a very good paying role for RNs. If you want to jump to being an NP later, that is a field that is desperately shorthanded. Mental health is vastly underserved in our society, and I'm beginning to see more APNs, advanced practice nurses, in that. And I'm sad to say some of them suck. I'll say it straight out. They suck. They're not qualified. And I hope, when you guys do that you're qualified. Some of them are just not ready. They didn't put enough time. Or they're just not very nice. I mean, they didn't put in the time and effort like an MD did, a psychiatrist did, or DO. That doesn't matter. I'm sorry to say that. I in my experience, and then on the other hand, there are APN nurses that have been practicing for a while that are maybe better than some MDs, and I know both of them. I know both spectrums, and that's what I'm trying to say is, all these roles, all these jobs have different spectrums. Every nurse, I'm on different spectrums. I'm still new, so I'm on the low end of the spectrum still. I need to climb up and build my skill set, build my experience to get hopefully into the higher end of the spectrums, like my preceptor was. The number of nurses that I know are. It takes time, it takes experience, but don't be discouraged because you're starting out. But I hope you do apply yourselves, unlike some of the, like I said, the APNs that I've seen in some of the mental health areas, that just in the mental health, I haven't, just because I'm exposed to it more. I don't know if that applies to renal, ortho, cardiac, whatever. But it's a shame because some of them do make the MPs that are good look bad, more so than the bad MDs to the good MDs, because there's a far fewer, in my opinion, percentage of bad MDs. I've seen some, just like bad attorneys, bad engineers, bad businessmen. I've seen them, in all my 30 years of doing business and stuff. I've seen various. I was like, lawyers that were just imbeciles, and lawyers that were brilliant, just absolutely brilliant, and other lawyers that I was like, wow, how did you get out of high school, let alone law school, And then there are nurses, the same thing. I'll say the same thing. I was like, wow, how did you graduate? How'd you pass NCLEX? And other ones are like, wow, you came, you probably could have been a nurse coming out of high school, just boom, you just take your NCLEX then, man. So you get variations of that. And, I'm sorry this sidetracked a little bit to go into that field, into that discussion, but it was mainly supposed to be for a psych nurse discussion of, that's a good field, another good field, a good high paying field. And I don't want to say minimal patient interaction, but you're not like really arms deep bedside, like a cardiac or ortho or renal floor, like my floor. It's a little different. It's your step back, and a lot of people like that. They like to pay, so it's kind of hard to get into that in our facility. I've found. Not that I'm looking to change, but when I've talked to people, they say, hey, I'm going to switch over to that and get higher pay. Well, yeah, it's higher pay for a reason, and they're much more picky. So, but if you can qualify and get in, that's pretty much what I find across the board. It is a higher paying position. It's a little more comfortable, and that's some of the things I'm trying with this series of discussion of various other jobs besides med-surg. Is that it's not just med-surg. It's not just a Hollywood nurse portrayal. There is so many other positions out there, jobs that are even higher paying. It's like, why? It doesn't sound logical, but that's like teachers. Teachers are all underpaid. I haven't met a teacher that is overpaid. I've met a few college professors that are overpaid. I know them. I hate this. Well, I don't want to say my uncle's overpaid because he put in like also 40 years of time and really trudged in the trenches, and now he's making incredible coin. But he put in his time. You teach for 30 years. Yeah, then you put in your time. But, all the teachers I've seen, they're vastly underpaid. It's a sad. So, it's not that hard of a reach to say RNs by and large are underpaid. There are some that are correctly paid though. All right, good luck.